AITA for not wanting to split our vacation costs evenly with my friend after she invited her boyfriend without asking me. My friend 27F and I 29F planned a vacation together to a tropical destination. We booked a 2-bedroom villa and agreed to split the costs 50-50. Everything was going great until a week before the trip when she told me she had invited her boyfriend 28M to join us without asking me first. I was annoyed that she didn't discuss it with me before inviting him. However, she argued that she should be able to bring her boyfriend along since we're both adults and he wouldn't affect my vacation experience. In fact, she insisted that he would be sharing her bedroom, so there wouldn't be any extra costs for accommodation. Despite my reservations, I decided to go along with it, but then I suggested that we should split the costs 3 ways instead of 50-50, as there would now be 3 of us on the trip. She disagreed, stating that since they're sharing a bedroom and not causing any extra expenses, the 50-50 split was still fair. I think it's unfair for me to pay half of the costs when there will be 3 of us on the trip. However, she argues that her boyfriend's presence won't increase the costs and that I'm trying to make her pay more than her fair share. AITA for refusing to help my sister with her rent, which will cause her to be evicted and my niece to transfer to a bad school district. My sister Jessica is irresponsible with money. She tries to live beyond her means and expects someone else to bail her out. This behavior has not changed since having my niece Valentina. Tina and Jessica has in fact been even less responsible with her spending. Jessica has been behind on her rent for months. She's treated it like a joke, constantly going to the mall and even taking Tina on an expensive spring break vacation. Jessica's landlord told her that she had one last chance to pay back her rent within the next 2 weeks, or else he would be forced to evict her. Some background on my family is that they all live in a very large house. 2 stories, 7 bedrooms, and a large yard. Family members built it generations ago, so my family pays practically nothing in taxes. But they are not at all well off. Their collective income is so low that they qualify and rely on services such as the food bank. For this reason, they are unable to help Jessica pay back her rent. My family is hoping that I will help because if Jessica and Tina move into my family's house, Tina would be forced to transfer to a bad school district. Tina's current school will allow her to finish the year, but after, she is expected to transfer and begin 6th grade at a different school district. Jessica is begging me to help with her rent because she doesn't want Tina to have to leave all her friends behind. She is also very worried because the school district within our family's address is known for being a bad one. This district has had many issues such as drugs since we attended as students. The amount Jessica needs would be a lot for me. It would still be possible for me to give it, but I refused. I told Jessica that this is on her. She chose to live beyond her means and treat her rent issues like a joke. I'm not responsible for her choices. She chose to have a child. My love for Tina does not make her my responsibility. It will be hard for Tina, but 6th grade is still easier to adapt to a new school and friend groups constantly change during that age anyway. I also reminded Jessica that despite the issues at this school district, we didn't get involved in any of those bad activities because we were taught not to give in to peer pressure. Tina is a smart girl and I'm sure she'll be fine. My family has told me that they are disappointed in Jessica but are disappointed in me as well. And they said that Jessica is irresponsible but that they hoped I would put my niece's well-being first. I still feel that this situation is entirely of Jessica's making and she has sole responsibility for it. Besides, it's not as if Jessica or Tina will be homeless. They'll be able to stay at the family house. Tina will still have access to an education, even if it's not as good as the one offered by her previous school district. AITA for refusing to help with Jessica's rent. AITA for shutting down the best man's speech. My 22F childhood guy friend 22 meters just got married and his best friend was the best man. My friend is bisexual but only myself, his wife and her parents, his best friend, and a few other friends know as his parents are pretty openly homophobic. At the reception, when his best friend went up to give the best man speech, he directly addressed the groom's parents and opened with, "Aren't you glad your son married bride? Bet you wouldn't be here if he ended up married to a guy." I think he meant it as a jab towards the groom's parents for being homophobic, but that was just not okay, especially when he started cracking a few gay jokes. Those of us that knew were horrified and the groom's parents were staring in shock at their son who looked like he wanted to throw up. I was beyond pissed and got up and practically yanked the mic from the best man and ordered him to sit down before taking hold of the situation, moving along to the maid of honor's speech. The rest of the reception was understandably tense. My friend the groom has been beside himself because his parents and their family have been barraging him with texts. I myself have been at the receiving end of a lot of anger because apparently there was no way his parents would have known he was serious if I didn't make such a big deal out of it and was to blame for outing him. I don't know, did I go too far? Edit. Groom told me he appreciated me stepping in, but it was already too late and the damage had already been done. He's refusing to talk to his best man because best man keeps trying to justify that he shouldn't be afraid of his parents and that he did him a favor by outing him because he knew he'd never have the balls to do it. Edit: the gay jokes were directly implicative of the groom's previous relationships with men. And it's not like I immediately jumped up there to stop it. It went on for maybe a couple minutes with the groom getting increasingly horrified and his parents looking like they were about to walk out on the whole thing. Edit: I'm receiving angry texts from the best man and some of the groom's family because they didn't think I had the right to stop the speech. Edit: best man wasn't drunk. I asked the groom about your question and he said he and his best man had a fling in high school that nobody knew about. Some of your theories about him being jealous might be right. Edit: the bride got back to me and she's more upset for her husband than anything. It was an awkward situation for her as well, but everyone on her side of the wedding party are supportive of the groom. And she's acting as mediator between her husband and his parents. She's telling them what for and I'm very proud of her. AITA for telling my brother he should not be claiming to have psychological conditions he has not been medically diagnosed with. I am mid-20s, was having a talk with my brother late teens that eventually landed on the topic of mental health. He then said he thinks a lot of his issues come from the fact that he is neurodivergent, despite the fact that he has never been diagnosed with this by a medical professional, and his belief in this stemmed merely from reading about the symptoms and deciding they lined up with his experiences. As his proof, he recounted experiences where he claimed others, fellow schoolchildren, online friends, etc., claimed he does not act like a normal human being, or his immense shyness and discomfort around people. I countered that opinions from non-medical professionals don't really count for much, and that he could just have social anxiety he does not know how to manage, and that it sounds more like he wants to claim an explanation for himself that I feel should really be left to professionals. His argument was that I was discounting his experiences, and that it was obvious that he is neurodivergent. My thoughts on the matter is that it is very reckless of him to claim a real condition for himself that he may or may not have without confirmation from a medical professional, because I feel that the possibility of someone claiming to be something they are not can have real, if overall tiny, effects on the perception of the people who really do have the condition if they take his word about being neurodivergent at face value. He then stormed off after he realized he wasn't going to change my thoughts on the matter. I like to think or hope that I'm rather open-minded towards mental health, but at least the very few people I know who told me they have one condition or another have told me that the conditions they have come from diagnoses from actual doctors, rather than saying they have it because a list of symptoms they read seem to fit. For possibly necessary added context, we are not from a Western country, and overall perception and knowledge of mental health conditions here are generally low outside more educated circles. I'm also not sure how easy trying to get mental health care here is, and would not know where to start, so I don't think this can be resolved by simply pointing him to a psychologist and saying go and let an actual doctor tell you whether you have the condition or not. So, AITA, if I am, then I'll apologize and let him say whatever he wants about himself. If I'm not, then how do I tell him that while he may have some social issues that get in the way of life, simply claiming a real condition without a professional opinion is not the way to deal with it? I don't want to be his enemy here. AITA for telling my father to go fuck himself and saying he can handle his daughter however he wants. I'm 18 meters estranged from my dad. Last went to his house just over a year ago, but it was a long time coming. He wasn't really around much when he was married to my mom. Wasn't very interested when he divorced her either, and would have me in his house and just kind of leave me alone or with a babysitter depending on the age I was. He left me to get into trouble many times because he wouldn't sign stuff from school and didn't have a phone I could call mom from when I was younger. She went to court and they just said that all school stuff should be sent to her after several incidents of me getting into trouble happened and the school even sending home notes and stuff. He never remembered my birthday. Never acknowledged me for Christmas. Every Christmas I was with my mom, and a few times he even forgot that I was in his house. One time I was sick and extra demanding and he yelled at me for annoying him. He started dating this woman Missy when I was 15 and she had a 2, or maybe 3-year-old daughter at the time, Leah. My father is now adopting Leah. Apparently she wants me there for her adoption day and wanted a sibling moment because to her she's not just gaining a dad, she's gaining a brother. But I don't want contact with her either. I have been no contact with my dad for a few months now except for this incident, and I'm not going to show up for her just because he's adopting her. I wasn't interested when I spent part of the time in the same house as her, and that hasn't changed for me. But my father is going all out to give her what she wants. He showed up at my mom's house with her and she was all eager and excited to see me and gave me an invite she made, and she told me she really wanted me there. I think she's like 5-ish now. Maybe even 6. I never really paid attention to her age and she remembers me some. She used to follow me around when I was still going to dad's, but I told her I wouldn't be able to go and made things move along. Then he shows up on his own and tells me she wants me there and I owe it to her, and how could I say I wouldn't come when she's so excited to have a brother? I told him to go fuck himself and told him to handle his daughter however he wants, but she's not my problem. He told me I was an asshole for taking it out on AITA for telling my sister it's not my fault she quit her job and moved back and to stop being such a bitch. I'm 14F, the youngest of 7. TBH, my parents checked out somewhere around kid 5. I was always able to do pretty much whatever I want. My oldest sister 34 had a rough year. She and her fiancé broke up and her baby died at 6 weeks old. She decided to move back in and take care of me since my parents travel a lot and it sucks. My first class is study hall. My parents used to let me sleep in since it's not a real class, but my sister takes my phone for 2 days if I'm not in the car by 8. She also decided that my clothes were inappropriate, so she went through my room with trash bags and confiscated everything that she doesn't like. She put a tracker and parental controls on my phone because she's mad that I sometimes go out at lunch and she thinks I'm on my phone too much. She also packs me one of those stupid bento lunches every day because she can't stand that I get lunch from McDonald's. I also have a bedtime now. What 14-year-old has a bedtime? It really fucking sucks, but I can deal with it. Then 2 weeks ago progress reports came back and she found out I wasn't doing my homework. She decided that now I'm not allowed to go out after school and she takes my phone the second I walk in. And I can't get it back until she checks my homework. I never get to see my friends anymore, so I lied and told her that I was going to stay at school late for tutoring. Then I turned my phone off so she can't track me and went out with my friends, but she actually went to my school to look for me, and when I wasn't there she drove around until she found me and made me get in the car. It was so embarrassing. When we got home she started to yell at me for being irresponsible and I kinda lost it and told her it's not my fault her fiancé left. She lost her kid, and she quit her job and had to come back here. So I don't know why she has to take it out on me and be such a bitch. She cried and locked herself in her room and she hasn't come out for like a day and a half. I think I went too far. Was I the asshole for yelling at her because she's literally ruining my life because hers fell apart?